ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna. So as we are entering the new chapter, so I would like to ask you a question, Prabhu. Uh, when somebody starts their spiritual journey, so it's a altogether a different experience for them. So in their day-to-day lives, they come across a lot of problems, and it's a difficult life for them. And when spirituality suddenly comes into their life, it comes as a fresh air, and that's a fresh air, and a lot of problems, we get clarity on a lot of problems, and we start our spiritual practices and we get the results. And one comes to a stage where one intensifies the practices, one spiritual practices, and then comes a stage when we are not able to gauge our spiritual progress. So is there any way we can gauge our spiritual progress objectively? And because some days we feel really good that I'm making progress, and some days we feel I'm not. And, is there any way we can measure this, or is this just an ethereal feeling? So what do you think of it?
Okay, so just a second. Voice is rebounding. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. It is okay now? Yeah,
No, it's not audible.
it's not audible. Hare Krishna, is my voice audible?
Yes, bro.
Okay. Yes, so very interesting question, Surya Prabhu. How do we gauge what is our status in spiritual path? Uh, in any pursuit, any endeavor that we do, we always like to know where do we stand, what is
Mm.
our progress. And people do that in terms of for their profession, in terms of the position that they get in the company through promotions, and their net worth, their mm, bank balance, their salary, and so on and so forth. There are many measures of identifying one's material progress. But
Mm.
then, if one is endeavoring for spiritual life, how does one know that he or she is advancing, he or she is growing? Yeah. So this growth is measured through wealth. Yeah, as
Mm.
we talked about, your material growth is discussed through wealth. How much wealth your, whether it is a nation, you measure the GDP. Whether it is a company, you measure the net revenues. And it comes to individuals, you measure the net worth or salary. So ये जो भौतिक प्रोग्रेस है उसको मेजर करते हैं वेल्थ से, एंड स्पिरिचुअल प्रोग्रेस को भी स्पिरिचुअल वेल्थ से मेजर किया जाता है. What is that spiritual wealth? Daivi Sampada. Hmm? Krishna speaks about Daivi Sampada, that the wealth of any spiritualist is not in terms of paper currency or gold or the shares one has. One's wealth is measured in terms of divine qualities. Hmm? The more spiritually advanced one is, the more wealthy in terms of divine qualities one becomes. And you can see, oh, this person is very gentle, this person is very compassionate, this person is very empathetic, this person is free of ego. So these are wealths on the spiritual platform, and this is called Daivi Sampada, the divine wealth. Not the monetary wealth, it's the divine wealth. It's not the wealth which you accumulate, from outside. It's the wealth which you develop from inside. And this 16th chapter of the Gita, interestingly, do you remember what we discussed in the 15th chapter? The reflection of the tree, right?
Yes,
Ashwatha
yes. Oh,
tree.
mm,
This material world is compared to an Ashwatha tree, which is a reflection of the spiritual world. And
mm,
when you talk of trees, you talk of fruits, isn't it?
mm,
So, fruit. What is the fruit of the tree? Now we saw two trees. The real tree, that is the spiritual world. Na tad bhasayate suryo na shashanko na pavaka. That was described that the real spiritual world doesn't need any external source, a distinct source of light, because the nature of that world is light. The nature of this world is darkness. The default setting of this world is darkness. To create light, right now there are two tube lights which are on in my room. If even if I switch off one of them, you can't see me clearly. So the nature of this world is by default is darkness, and then you need to place light to see things. But spiritual world is such a place where by default everything is full of light and knowledge. Hmm. So that was described as the spiritual world is a real tree, and this is a reflected version of the tree. So tree matlab fruits. So जो रियल ट्री है उसके ऊपर जो फ्रूट्स लगते हैं उसको बोलते हैं दैवी संपदा, और डिवाइन फ्रूट्स ऑफ डिवाइन क्वालिटीज. और आसुरी संपदा या डिमोनियक फ्रूट्स, they grow on the demoniac tree of material desires. So in one sense, this material world is secondarily about places and geographies. It is primarily about desire. Prabhupada was asked by a reporter, why did God create a world with so much suffering? Prabhupada said, God did not create the world. We created with our rebellious desire. Just as the government doesn't create the prison house. It is the citizens who are rebellious, who are bent on doing crime. For those fellows, the government is forced to make a prison cell. So, and this material world is basically a tree of desires. Yes, there are geographies, there are places that we see, but the root of that is the desire, the network of desires that we have. And then to fulfill those desires, Krishna, God provides us with opportunities and situations and places and people to fulfill those desires. And the seed of these desires produces this tree of this world, and this tree of this world produces the fruits, the fruits of the qualities, the kind of person that we become, hmm, in pursuit of material desires. And whereas when we pursue spiritual desires, hmm, when the seed is that of bhakti, not bhoga, when the seed of bhoga is sowed in our heart, then the fruits of demoniac qualities like selfishness, greed, arrogance, envy, lust, these are the fruits that we will reap. But if we sow the seed of bhakti, devotion to God, then divine qualities such as that we will speak of will grow through that tree. Yeah. And Krishna is describing what are the fruits of the divine tree. When you sow the seed of bhakti in your heart, what are the fruits that you should expect to receive? And when you sow the seed of bhoga or selfish enjoyment in your heart, what are the fruits that you will reap? And that makes it quite clear cut. How much are you be progressing in spiritual life? So let's take a dive into the qualities which Krishna is going to speak. Yeah. So he first describes the divine qualities, the qualities of people who are cultivating spiritual consciousness, mm, who are watering, who have sown the seed of bhakti, and who are watering that seed with spiritual practices of Shravanam, Kirtanam, all of these things. So let's discuss some of the fruits. And it's very interesting that these fruits are also, just as in different seasons you do sow different crops, yeah, and different crops have different yields. So हमारे जीवन के भी अलग अलग सीजन हैं, the brahmacharya life, the grahastha life, the vanaprastha life, the sannyas life. So Krishna is giving the fruits, the stage of one's life. And but in general, these are meant for everyone. Anyone who is cultivating spiritual life should cultivate these qualities. And Krishna mentions 26 qualities. So we can actually measure ourselves. How am I doing? If I thought I was advancing, it was socially known now as a spiritual person, but am I cultivating abhaya or fearlessness? Sattva Shamsuddhi, is my consciousness getting pure, or it still has the dirty desires? Uh, so all of these qualities do manifest, and one can clearly measure. Uh, so for all of these four ashrams and four varnas, Krishna is speaking of qualities, which divine qualities which manifest. And essentially, if you think of it, a sannyasi is supposed to have clarity, hmm? Jnana, vijnana, clarity of what is the purpose of life. And then because he has clarity, he is um, very brightly positioned to lead the society. Someone who knows the way can only show the way. Yeah. So a sannyasi is supposed to have clarity. A vanaprastha, or someone who has after the grahastha life, mm, entered the school of spirituality, where they want to dedicate themselves to the other world. Mm. So for them, the quality is austerity. For the grahastha, the quality which is supposed to be developed is charity. And for the brahmachari, the quality which is supposed to be developed is purity. So purity, charity, austerity, and clarity. So these are the four qualities which overall. But let's go into details of each, and I'd like to share the screen. So far, so good, friends. Is it making sense what we are discussing?
Yes, Prabhu. Prabhu, could you repeat those four? Purity, charity.
Purity for brahmachari, charity for grahastha, austerity for vanaprastha, and
Mhm.
clarity for sannyasi.
Right. Thank you, Prabhu.
So this is the first verse, first to third verse, which where Krishna is listing 26 qualities.
Mhm.
Abhayam, sattva, samshuddhi. So should we take one by one each of these qualities and just understand what it means? Hmm?
Yes, Prabhu. That would be great.
So abhayam is fearlessness. Hmm? And this is such a important quality that anyone on the spiritual path is supposed to manifest. Uh, um, okay, let me share with you the division based on the varnas and ashrams. Yeah, so these are my notes of this. Yeah. So abhay or fearlessness. Uh, Now, as a spiritual practitioner, we can ask ourselves: do we find ourselves fearing and fretting about unnecessary things which might not even happen in the future? Hmm? About the unknown future, what is going to happen? Will I be able to clear this exam? Will I get that promotion? Will this person reciprocate me in such a way? What if not? Hmm? So there is this fear of things going against our plans. Hmm? And if that fear is there, that is very debilitating. In each one of our lives, fear is something which actually is like a ghost which haunts us. And suddenly, in the dead of the night, you wake up with a bad dream, and your worst fear comes true in the dream. So that is something which is caused. The Bhagavatam explains bhaya. What is the cause of root cause of bhaya? Bhayam dvitiya abhiniveshata syad ishad apetasya viparyayo smriti. So bhaya or fear is caused when one has a false identification, a false identification with things related to the body and people related to the body. And these things and people are by default full of uncertainty and are chaos. In this material world, if you are standing on a plank in an ocean, hmm, that plank in itself has doesn't have any strong hold. Yeah, and the waves of that ocean anytime it can dump you down from that plank. So when we take the platform of our existence, material possessions and people and positions, what happens? These are unstable platform, and anytime there is fear of tripping, and that causes great fear. But someone who is on the path of spiritual life, they know what their true identity is. Their identity is not a relative identity based on the things they are connected to or people they are connected to or the position they are connected to. Their identity is based on their connection with God. That I am a spirit soul and a part and parcel of Krishna, and Krishna is in control. Hmm. Why fear when Krishna is here? Hmm. And he is our most near and dear. So when you have that understanding, what is the cause of fear? And that Krishna also speaks in the Gita, the second chapter, um, mm, that the soul, it cannot be cut with weapons. The soul, it cannot be moistened with water. It cannot be burnt with fire. So there is nothing which can take away your true essence from you. There is fear of losing, right? Yeah. Why is there fear? Because we have fear of losing what we hold as ours. Yeah, but when we understand what is truly ours is the soul and super soul, and we know that no one can take this away from us, then we are fearless. कोई मेरा कुछ बिगाड़ नहीं सकता है, क्योंकि that's what Socrates said when he was being poisoned. They were they gave him poison, and they said, we are now, this is your death, drink this. And he said, you have to first find me to kill me. You think I am this body, but I am not. I am the spiritual self. So, so when someone has that kind of an understanding, they are fearless. So that is the first quality of fearlessness. Hmm. And therefore, a sannyasi is supposed to go out into the wilderness without any fear of how will I be maintained, how will I be protected, whether there will be any wild animals. A sannyasi knows Krishna is there in the heart of that wild animal. And Radha Swami Maharaj describes that how he learned to live in the forest, live in a cave with serpents and scorpions in the same cave. How? Because there's a language. When the inner language that we speak is that of violence and fear, the animals also understand this person is about violence and fear, and so they also s- speak the same language, violence and fear. They are fearful of you, and then they are violent on you. But if you speak the language of love and understanding, they also reciprocate because of the Paramatma in the heart. So, so that is fearlessness. The next quality is Sattva Samshuddhi. Samshuddhi means purity. Purity is something which is so. आप देखो कोई भी प्रोडक्ट है तो प्योर A2 मिल्क, प्योर अल्फोंसो ऑर्गेनिक मैंगोज, हाँ. So everything which is called as pure, original iPhone, right, or original whatever. So that becomes attractive when it is in its pure, pristine state. And when our consciousness comes to the pure, pristine state, devoid of all types of coverings, that purity is very, very um, attractive. Hmm. But currently, the consciousness is currently covered with a lot of dirt, a dirt of vasanas, desires, um, material desires, etc. So therefore, spiritualists, we should ask ourselves: am I actually reducing my material vasanas? Is my consciousness becoming pure? How often do I become agitated with thoughts of you know selfish enjoyment or anger, things like that? Then cultivation of spiritual knowledge, because knowledge is the basis for all action. Hmm. People act sinfully because they don't know better. Hmm. So when one has cultivated spiritual knowledge, that is the foundation of spiritual life. Yeah. So that's very important. Coming to qualities of a grahastha, charity or danam. Now in this world, it's very difficult to give. It's very difficult because aham mameti. In this world, the we are under the grips of these two things, me and mine. And whatever we hold on to as mine, there's such possession and mm, proprietorship over things that when we can't give to others, right? So there was a study conducted that there are three types of people: takers, givers, and matchers. And it's this study said that there are most of the people in this world are takers, that whichever situation they are in, the only question that comes to mind is what is in it for me, मुझे क्या मिलेगा. हाँ, भिखारी के पास भी जाएंगे तो 2 रुपए दे के सेल्फी निकालेंगे और पोस्ट करेंगे, देखो मैं कितना चैरिटेबल हूँ. सो द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज मुझे क्या मिलेगा. दीज आर द टेकर्स. देन देर आर मैचर्स. मैचर्स बोल क्या माइंडसेट रहता है, तूने मुझे क्या दिया, इतना दिया ना, तेरे को उतना ही, आई विल रेसिप्रोकेट. Yeah, so this person has given me, so it's a business dealing. So I'll square up. So these are the matchers. They are at least better than the takers. At least उतना तो honesty है कि भाई कुछ दिया है मैं भी I'll give back. But on their own they will not give. But then there are people who are givers, and these people, the first thought they have is, what can I do for others, irrespective of what others do to me. Can I add value to someone's life? And these are the givers. And very counterintuitively, the study describes that the people who are givers, they are the most successful in the long run. In the short run, the takers might appear to be more successful, hmm, but their peace of mind is not there, and eventually they become broke. Yeah. But the givers are the ones who can sustain. इसलिए देखो आप जितने भी बड़े business houses है who have run generation after generation, charity is a very key and foundational part of their family ethos, giving. Because when you give, your heart becomes soft. When you when you refuse to give to others, the heart becomes hard, and a hard heart is very brittle, and uh, eventually it breaks. And therefore charity is something which is a very essential practice, because while we are practicing charity, we are actually programming ourselves. Hmm? to be dynamic and flexible in life. We are not anchored to just the limited positions, right? Then your growth won't happen, because you have just holding on to some things, and that's what defines you. But when you give charity, it opens you up to exploring more in life. So there are many benefits. Then there is sense control or dhamma. Huh? So if we are on the path of spirituality, this is something we can ask. Is it becoming easier for me to say no to undesirable things? Is it easier? Is it now becoming easier for me to to have a cutoff time for the gadgets, to minimize my social media consumption, to minimize my eating, regulate my eating? So this is sense control, and this- that's a very important thing, because the senses, uh, if the senses are uncontrolled, then the mind becomes uncontrolled, and then the intelligence becomes disturbed, and then we are not able to take the right decisions in life. So therefore, controlling the senses is is actually a key to success in all fields of life. Those who can control their senses, they can focus. Therefore, you see, the great sports people, they have this practice of sense control. They will have very regulated eating. Even means I came across one athlete, and this athlete, like, he's preparing for getting to Olympics and everything. So this person doesn't, it's so regulated. He told that, the moment, the day I take sugar, and that day when I try to run, I can see a drastic difference in my completion time of the 100-meter dash. Bole ki this seeing things that we have to God. Yeah, seeing things in relationship with God and offering it to God as the first offering. So हमारे पास, so whatever food we eat, we first offer it to Krishna. Yeah, and then make it sacred, and then we honor it. Yeah, so that is important. And study of Vedas for the brahmachari, swadhyaya, because that's the time for um, cultivating knowledge. That's the time for getting clarity of direction, which direction to go. Swadhyaya means to study oneself. Yeah. So Swadhyaya for the brahmachari, and Vanaprastha is tapas or austerity, and this is because Grahastha life has a lot of pampering. You have all the comforts, facilities, luxuries. So you cannot directly jump to the level of sannyasi. You have to have the intermediate step of austerity, and because austerity is something which controls your senses. Austerity is basically willingly saying no to the urges of the senses. And Rishabdev says, Tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam shuddhete yasmat brahma saukhyam tu anantam. If you want to experience spiritual bliss, there is no shortcut to, you know, um, tapasya. You have to undergo something which is unpleasant for us. Getting up early in the morning is unpleasant. Sitting in one place and meditating is unpleasant. Reading books in today's day and age, where there is so much of reels culture, reading books is unpleasant. But that tapasya prepares us to shift our gears in life. Hmm? Because from the gear of comfort, luxury, sense gratification, to the gear of spiritual realization, you need this, in between intermediate stage of tapasya. Okay, so these are the four qualities, four ashramas, and then Krishna talks of the qualities of the different varnas: simplicity, arjavam, which is basically saralta hi vaishnavata. It is said that simplicity is the cornerstone of a person who is spiritual, because mm, A diplomatic or duplicitous person cannot practice spirituality. Because if we are duplicitous, we are thinking we are cheating others, but actually we are cheating ourselves. Hmm? Because we are tying different knots in our heart of complexity, of 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 being you know clever and astute. But clever and that being clever and astute may pay off in this world, but it it costs us dearly in the spiritual progress. Hmm? Because one thing which Krishna is Patita Pavan, but he is not Kapata Pavan. If someone is duplicitous, if someone is um, that kind of a diplomatic person who is just trying to manipulate others, then you kind of lose touch mm, with your own self. Yeah, and gradually as you keep cheating others, you start cheating yourself also. Yeah, so therefore that is very important to cultivate simplicity. And all of these qualities, these are not only yardsticks, these are also sadhana, which if we want to progress in spiritual life, we must cultivate simplicity, we must perform austerity, we must study the Vedas, we must perform yajna, we must do dhamma, sense control, we must do charity. So these are things which we should do. Non-violence or ahimsa minimize the the discomfort and violence that we cause to other living entities. At everything in our life should be, it's not just uh, violence towards animals or like that. Violence towards others by the way we speak things. Hmm? If it hurts others, then actually it is putting a break in our spiritual progress. Yeah. So how comfortable we are making life of others, that's non-violence. How how we are providing opportunity for spiritual growth to other persons, that is non-violence. Yeah. And okay, truthfulness or satya, unless we are truthful, we can't pursue the absolute truth. Yeah. So we have to also cultivate truthfulness, very very essential. um, Also because mm, again connected to simplicity and honesty. Hmm? Then you know our Abraham Lincoln once said that you cannot speak a lie long enough. Hmm? Because you cannot keep a lie long enough, because you have to hide that lie, you speak another lie, and to hide that second lie you speak a third lie, and then finally you forget which lie you spoke to whom. Yeah, and when. And then you cannot keep a lie for a life. We can fool some people for some time, and we can fool some people all the time and all people for some time, but not all the people all the time. So therefore keeping life simple, being truthful, and the ultimate essence of truthfulness is uh, to 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 practice one's true identity. Hmm? I'm speaking the truth, but I'm not living the truth. So speaking the truth also means living the truth, means living a life which is aligned to our spiritual identity. Akrodha, absence of anger. So akrodha is called Kam Anuj. Kam Anuj means the younger brother of lust. Krishna says, ध्यातो विषयाम पुंसा संगतेषु उपजायते संग संजायते kama kama krodho bhi jayate. That when we develop attachment for sense objects, we develop lust, and when that lust is unfulfilled, it leads to krodha, and therefore you see, you know, you know, there is betrayal of love, and then the person who claimed that I love this girl or boy ends up killing that other person, because that was not love, that was lust, and when the lust is not fulfilled, it leads to krodha. Yeah, so someone who is cultivating spiritual life, one should curtail one's propensity for becoming angry. Yeah, renunciation or tyaga. So that is a practice that we should like always have. That look at our by default nature is to accumulate things. कि वो लगेगा नहीं लगेगा, अरे मिल रहा है ना फ्री में, लेके रख लो. Yeah, and that is in all spheres of life. We accumulate from cosmetics to shoes to clothes, or gadgets. So चार पांच पांच gadgets, phones, iPad, you know, mm, and then laptops, and whatnot. The thing is that we don't even end up using any one of them. Yeah, so therefore there's a rule that if you have not used something, like look around, take a scan of your surroundings at your home, or look for things which you have not used for 5 years. Yeah, it is time to give them up. If you have not used for 5 years, you are probably not going to use them for next 10 years also. Yeah, and that will just be a burden, because the things we carry, they not only occupy physical space, they also occupy mental space. Yeah, so the less we have, the more we can have clarity in life. Hmm? We will be less cluttered. So therefore, giving up, renouncing things which are not necessary, keeping our life simple. So this is something which is very helpful. And you see successful people, it's a well-known secret that they will have very simple possessions. Let's say Warren Buffett, he stays in the same house since 1965. वो घर बनाया था, छोटा सा घर एक बनाया था, उसी में वो रह रहा है 50-70 साल से. और that home is very decent, simple place. And so things like that, tranquility or peace of mind, shanti. This is something we can know how much agitated we are, or can we sit in one place. Or we need some um, stimulation. Yeah, and this is a gift of the modern social media culture, that you need a stimulation every every few minutes. You need some stimulation. We become so hungry for stimulation that मतलब कुछ भी करने को नहीं है, but I can't sit like that. I have to jump from something to another. So that kind of uh, snatches our peace of mind. Aversion to backbiting or fault finding, so apaishuna. So of all these qualities, this one quality, it's we can say that okay, I'm a bit truthful, non-violence, yes I am, ahimsa follow kar raha hu. But to say I don't find faults with others, that's a tall order. Hmm? Because that also gives us a subtle pleasure to the ego, that I am better than that person. Yeah, and it creates unnecessary negativity. Spiritual life is about cultivating positive mindset. That's a part of it. To see the good, because when you are pursuing the absolute good, you need to learn to see the good. Yeah, good in others, because everyone is a part and parcel of Krishna, and you can always see good and focus on the good. Compassion or daya, being compassionate, um, and absence of greed, aluluptam. So greed is something which is creation of the mind. So you can never be satisfied with something if you operate with the operating system of greed. Mahatma Gandhi said you can satisfy uh, if the entire world's population's need, but not even a single person's greed, because greed is infinite. So there are two things which are infinite. One is God's compassion and humans' greed. Yeah, so we can't find ourselves satisfied however much we obtain. Gentleness or soft heartedness, Mardava. feeling for the pains and pleasures for others, shying from sinful acts, greed. There should be, like, this is something which is now extinct, जैसे extinct species होते हैं वैसे ये shyness is something now extinct. मतलब अभी तो they say it is it is actually glamorous to be brave and bold, bold actresses. So actually what is valued by Krishna as Daivi Sampada is shyness. But what is Asuri Sampada is boldness. Bold matlab, being like animals, doing anything on the streets. Yeah, that is considered boldness. But Krishna is saying no. One should be shy and ashamed to 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 do any promiscuous things in public. But this has now become the sign of boldness and coolness. Absence of useless actions, or chapala, means not unnecessarily speaking, prajalpa, not doing unnecessary things. And then for the Kshatriya, Teja, valor or determination. So this is helpful for anyone actually to have that determination and strong sense of willpower. Then forgiveness, Shama. Yeah, giving, because when you forgive, the greatest charity you are doing is not on the person who you are forgiving, but on ourselves, because we save ourselves from the fire of that grudge. Fortitude or dhriti means to hold on to something with steadiness. Cleanliness or shocha, not just physical shocha, taking bath of course, but also mental shocha, uh, cleaning the mind with mantra, chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And then adroha, we in this world, it's now these is fashionable to be rebellious. जो बैक बेंचर्स रहते हैं, एवरीवन लुक्स अप टू देम कि अरे यार ये कैसे टीचर के नाक के नीचे बैठ के they will actually disrespect the teacher, and so that is considered very fashionable. So but the quality which Krishna is talking of, there should be adroha, means being faithful to the authorities, being respectful to the authorities. Na atimanita is another quality where one is being respectful to them, and that cannot happen unless we are humble. We cannot, therefore, amanena manadena. Only when we don't expect respect and honor can we actually give honor to others. अगर मुझे ही ऑनर चाहिए, तो मैं ऑनर लेके रख लूंगा, अपने पास ऐसा छुपा के, नहीं किसी को नहीं दे सकता, मुझे चाहिए ऑनर, सब सब मुझे ऑनर करो. बट देन व्हेन वी ओपन अप आवर माइंड सेट कि नहीं नहीं, दिस ऑनर बिलोंग्स टू अदर्स, I don't deserve this, then we can give to others. So these are the qualities, spiritual divine qualities, which actually determine uh, our advancement in spiritual life. And we can actually, all of us, we can from this list of 26 which Krishna has given, as we discussed the different seasons of life. तो आपके लाइफ के सीजन में currently which is a quality which you feel is essential for you to develop? For some it might be um, you know na atimanita, yeah, not expecting respect, yeah, because that is something which hurts you if someone doesn't respect you. So make that as a goal. For some it may be simplicity or truthfulness, so make that as a goal. So currently in the season of life you are in, which is the quality, which are the three qualities you want to work on for the next 6 months? You can make a pick. Okay, Prabhu, this is a long answer to your short question.
And didn't feel like a long answer, bro. That was so good, and that was definitely some good material for self-reflection. And we can each and every quality we can look into it and gain a lot, and have some aspirations that I want to become like this one day. Maybe we'll be successful one day trying to achieve it. Thank you very much, bro.
Thank you.
And the first quality you mentioned, Prabhu, so I will just a thought appeared in my mind, that fearlessness. So not only in spiritual people, but among all the people in this world, there's one feeling. बहुत सारे problems है इतना, कभी यहाँ पे war चल रहा है, कभी वहाँ पे चल रहा है. Something or other is happening. If not wars, and then political turmoils or something or other. So there's always a thought, सबका एक, everybody is striving how to make this place, the world, a better, a safer place to live. So, do you have a opinion on that, Prabhu?
Prabhu, your voice is breaking in between. Uh,
Okay. Am I audible now, Prabhu?
yes, yes, yes. No.
Uh, yes, I was coming to Prabhu. Everybody has this desire of, and a good desire of making this place a better place to live. So, and a safer place. So, what is Gita's opinion on that, Prabhu?
Hmm. So, how can we make the world a safer place to live? By mm, enforcing law and order, by creating Bharat Nyaya Samhita, mm, by increasing the police force, CRPF, and police force, by in by installing CCTV cameras everywhere. Is it the way to make this world a safer place? No, sir. This is a very flawed and very reactionary way of actually making the world a safer place. Mm. Because uh, we are not making the world a safer place. We are we are actually just trying to mm, trying to you know give criminals. We are not curtailing the criminal mentality. We are actually just creating enforcement and restrictions on the criminal people. Yeah, because it's not about the place, it's about the people. Which, because a place is not safe by the security measures, a place is safe by the kind of people who live. Hmm. So once someone asked a saint, that all of you spiritual people, you talk about heaven and hell. So how does heaven look like and how does hell look like? So then the saint gave him a Divya Drashti. And in this Divya Drashti, uh, Devi Sampada and Asuri Sampada. So he first got a vision of the hell. And in the hell, he saw people who are, everyone is very morose, hungry, emaciated, weak, and irritated. Hmm. Or, or he was thinking, why is everyone hungry and weak? सबके सामने there is a bowl of food which is kept in front of everyone. Hmm? But they are not eating. What is happening? And then he saw their hands. सबके हाथ जो थे से एक लकड़ी का स्पून बंधा हुआ था. So they could not fold their hand. Their hand was tied with this long wooden spoon. तो ऐसा वुडन स्पून है, अभी वो उससे खाना उठा भी लेते थे, लेकिन वो मतलब अभी इसको कैसे डालेंगे? It's they were not, they're trying their best ऐसा उठा के, but it was falling on their space, on their face, hot food. And then they were getting irritated, frustrated. And then when someone else was trying to put food like this, they pushed that person, like, मेरे को नहीं खाने मिला, तू क्यों खा रहा है? Yeah. So he realized this is not a place where I want to go. And then he said, show me the heaven, what it looks like. And he saw then heaven. Heaven is full of healthy and happy people, and they are quite, mm, satisfied and content and smiling. And then he saw their hands were also tied with this long wooden spoon. So then, how is it that they are healthy and they are able to have good, physique? So then, when the time for the supper came, he saw one person would, use his wooden spoon tied to the hand, fill it up with the sweet rice, and feed the person in front of him. So rather than competing and rather than deriding the other person, they were cooperating. Yeah, they were they were feeding each other. They were happy. अरे, you know, दूसरे के हाथ से खाने का मजा ही कुछ और है. They were feeling content. They were satisfied, healthy. So then, you know what the saint told him? The saint told him, don't think heaven or hell is a physical place. Hmm? कि heaven is just that physical space जहाँ पे सब अच्छा है, facilities है, environment है, gardens है, or hell is a place where there are boiling cauldrons of oil. He said heaven and hell is not about the comfortable or torturous environment. Heaven and hell is created by the kind of people who stay there. Yeah, you can be in a most comfortable, like people who live in big mansions, who have property worth crores of rupees, but if they have a hellish mentality, they will create hell for themselves and for the people around them. अभी रेमंड के मालिक का, you know, सिंघानिया जी का, वीडियो आ रहा था. I saw it on WhatsApp, and Mr. Singhania, he's saying that there is he was more rich than Ambani's at one point of time. He is such a rich person, such a successful person, and but he said, but one thing, he said, nothing is permanent in this world. My son, he became so greedy, he became so disrespectful. बोले मेरे और मेरी वाइफ को घर से भगा दिया, निकाल दिया, and he took over all the property, and then now I am vagabond. So उनके पास बहुत, like he had so much riches, but it's the people who create heaven or hell. You can be staying in a small hut, but that hut can be heaven. And if you can be staying in a big mansion, and that mansion can be hell. Yeah. So therefore Gita talks about importance of creating divine people, not comfortable places. Science can make things better, yeah, but spirituality makes people better. And it is divine people who make a safe and happy world. So a happy world is not a creation of technology and science. Happy world is a creation of spiritual knowledge and spiritual practices. So कृष्णा ने अभी तक दैवी संपद बताया था. In the 6th and 7th verse, Krishna is talking about the asuri sampada. Hmm? Uh, so where does his demoniac mentality comes from? Demoniac mentality comes from unrestricted sense gratification. Yeah, where everyone is so selfish. Think of a community जिसमें हर कोई selfless है. Everyone is selfless. Like you are in a community of 50 people, everyone is selfless. How many people would take care of each person? 49. 50 लोग हैं. So I am selfless. I don't care so much about myself. I care about others. And everyone in that community thinks about others. So for each person, there are 49 people who are thinking about them. But if a community is made up of selfish people, how many people would be caring for each person? Only one. So the choice is ours. Do we want to create a world, a society, a community, a family where everyone is selfish? Then will have just one person caring for themselves selfishly. That if we create a society of community of selfless divine people, then every individual in this world will have the rest of the world. Every individual in a nation will have the rest of the nation. Every individual in a city will have the rest of the city. Every individual in a family will have the rest of the family to take care of them. Yeah. So therefore, that is what uh, a better place, a safe place means. But what we have done is we in the world today is unrestrictedly encouraging selfish behavior, individualism. Everyone is pursuing their selfish sense gratification, and that's what is glorified in Bollywood, in cinemas, in on social media, selfishness, and therefore the selfie culture. And what is happening is that people are becoming no better than animals. When we talk of a safe place, imagine going out on the street रात को 12 बजे, and then you come across 7 stray dogs, you know, who are who are showing their fangs to you and they are gnarling at you, they're barking at you, would you feel safe? No, you'll feel very terrified, very afraid. Yeah. So you can't feel safe in vicinity of dogs. And what is the problem with dogs? They are animalistic. They don't have the quality of compassion, of empathy. अरे यार इसको डर लग जाएगा या इसको हम काटेंगे. So there have been incidents of dogs ripping apart people, a pack of stray dogs ripping apart people and eating them up, all their flesh. या तो ऐसे इंसिडेंट्स काफी हो गए हैं इंडिया में. एंड सो why is it? Because these dogs are just dogs. They don't have the divine qualities or subtle spiritual qualities of empathy, compassion, selflessness. Yeah. So if we create a world where people are no better than dogs, stray dogs, then can we expect a safe world? Hmm? In the name of material advancement, we are eulogizing and glorifying alcoholism. मतलब तुम दारू नहीं पीता है तो तुम में कुछ कमी है. And everyone out of peer pressure is has drinking. And then what is happening? You are giving up your humanness because you are giving your control of your discrimination to chemicals and yielding away your um, sense control. Then you become no better than a dog. Yeah, people are glorifying substance abuse in colleges. There is so much. अरे ये एक्टर, हाँ ये भी ड्रग्स लेता है. एलन मस्क भी ड्रग लेता है. And these are the kind of role models which people have. So and then what happens is that people are, what is glorified is obscenity in cinema, promiscuity in public places, and kind of rave parties, extramarital affairs. तो इसी सब को बहुत ग्लोरीफाई करके बताया जा रहा है, यही सबको रोल मॉडल बताया जा रहा है. व्हाट हैपेंस इवेंचुअली? People become like those pack of stray dogs, and then you find news of someone slitting someone else's throat in the train for a small quibble, a mother killing her own child, you know suffocating and killing her own child, uh, for whatever reasons. Yeah, a lover uh, killing one's partner. Yeah, and stuffing in and cutting her off. So this is nothing better than animals who are just operated by carnal desires. Yeah. So therefore we don't want to create a world like this where people are no better than stray dogs or wild animals. And if you don't want to live in such a world जो जहाँ पे कभी भी कोई भी गोली निकाल के शूटिंग चालू कर दे या फिर किसी को यू नो नुकसान पहुंचाए, चीट करे, then we have to think about what are the role models in the society, what is glorified, what is highlighted. Yeah. And for that we need to highlight these divine qualities. We need to highlight the characters of the Pandavas. We have to highlight the characters of Ramayana, Mahabharata, who are real heroes, because the Updeshamrit says that who is a real hero? वाचो वेगम मनस क्रोध वेगम जिह्वा वेगम उदरोपस्थ वेगम एतान वेगान यो विषहेत धीरा सवाम अभिमाम पृथ्वीम सशिष्य. A real hero is who can control one's urges. But today's heroes are those who can do unrestricted gratification of their urges. That is called the cool dude, or cool girl. So you may have some fun for some time, but then the society will go into a chaos. So therefore, Krishna is telling that we need to save the world from demoniac civilization. And Krishna described in the 16th verse, in the 16th chapter, fourth verse, Dambha, or false pretense, Darpa, pride, Abhiman, arrogance, anger, Krodha, Parushyam, cruelty, Ajnanam, ignorance. These are the qualities of demonic people. So this is something which we need to work on to create a safe and happier place.
Thank you, Prabhu. So we have to choose our heroes wisely. It's a thing we can really ponder upon. Thank you very much, Prabhu. And now we can take up any questions from the audience if anyone has some. Uh, Please unmute yourself or you can type it in the chat box.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the enlightening session. My question is that one of my friend was talking about Jain, and he was saying that even they have Krishna Bhagwan in their some one Bhagwan. They were saying that Krishna had taken some the he was in conversation with one of the Neminath god, and even they have Krishna as some 24 gods. So is it really or how it is?
Okay, so basically Jainism, Buddhism, they are all offshoots of the Sanatan Dharma tradition, and it is um, fully a well known and accepted fact that the oldest spiritual culture in the world is the Sanatan Dharma. And Buddhism was a response of the Kshatriyas for the exploitation done by the Brahmins, and Jainism was a response of the Vaishyas on account of the exploitation done by the Brahmins and Kshatriyas. So in this world, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So anyone, like, because of the nature of world is gravity, things come down if they are not maintained in their orbit. So by default, things degrade. So people, the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas are interested to take care of the society, but when they exploit the society, it creates a sort of a situation where the people under them, they are disillusioned, and then they rebel, and then they create a new system, hmm, different from the system given by God from time immemorial. Krishna is saying to Arjuna that. Uh, this Bhagavad Gita was spoken by me to Vivaswan, the sun god. But evam parampara praptam evam rajarshayo vidu sakale hamata yoga nashta parantapa. Yoga nashta. That in due course of time, this knowledge and practices were discontinued and you know deviated. And therefore now I have come to actually yada yada hi dharmasya glani. जब जब धर्म की ग्लानि होती है, then God appears as an avatar to set things right. So that's but natural that in this world there will be degradation, and there will be people who are given a position mm, of service, but they exploit other people using that position. And then there is a reactionary system which is not um, foolproof. Yeah, so therefore, because these other traditions are offshoots of the Vedic Sanatan tradition, and therefore you will find many commonalities in terms of practices, philosophy, stories, etc. But if you want to know about Krishna, uh, there's no need to read Bible or Quran or the Jain Agamas. If you want to know about Krishna, Krishna is himself spoken in the Bhagavad Gita and in the Shrimad Bhagavatam. That's what we should, look into.
Okay. Another question is that you mentioned the qualities, but we are always surrounded by the people, who don't follow that. So how do we control ourselves? Because, the company matters also. So for that.
Yes, this is a question which I think next class also we will be continuing with the 16th chapter. And this is one of the questions which we can take up in detail in the next class. But just in short, we can't uh, change the world we are living in. And by default, we are living in Kali Yuga, which is predominated by passion and ignorance, Tamogun and Rajogun. And it's natural that people are governed by Raja and Tama. And for subsistence, we are surrounded by those people. So the question is, हम अपना जो शील्ड है, हम जो कवच है, If when we know that we are going to in company of people who have strong vibes of Raja and Tama, so I should make a stronger shield, a stronger protection system. So that is something which we can do. पता है बहुत तेज बारिश होने वाली है तो you wear a thick raincoat. Yeah. So that is one thing, and another thing is create a micro environment of people. Okay, even in the company, there might be 2 3 people who are um, more you know mm, saintly in their mindset. So make company with them, spend more time with them, and try to cultivate them, try to bring them to more divine qualities as you also are growing. And then together you can form a good sangha, yeah, wherever we are positioned. So these are some things which we can do, and at the same time, we need to be very firm with some principles because there will be a lot of pressure, but we need to also, um, people force or push us when they see that this person is not really having a strong grounding. मतलब they will not shake a person whom they know यार ये तो गया, इसका कुछ नहीं हो सकता, then they'll leave that person. So up to us that how strong do we become.
Yeah. Also, one question on the Instagram, I've seen people wearing the black tilak, and one or two girls getting married to Laddu Gopal. Is it okay or how it is? Like,
हाँ अभी इंस्टा ही तो कोई पता होगा क्या है. I don't know. So black tilak, I don't know. So but as per the parampara, the tilak that we wear is the Gopi Talab जो
mm-hmm.
द्वारका में है वहाँ पे. So there's this talab where the footprints of all the gopis were there. So the gopis came from Vrindavan to Dwarka, and they had a rasa dance with Krishna in Dwarka, and their footprints created this talab, uh, Gopi Talab, and then the mud which is taken from there is used for putting the clay markings. Yeah, so this is what we do, and then some people also wear Radha Kund uh, tilak, the clay from Shri Radha Kund. But the standard practice is that we wear tilak from Gopi Talab. But it's one thing to just put the tilak as a symbolism, but another thing is to be conscious of it. Yeah, because अगर कोई वर्दी में है पुलिस वाला, they it's not just their reputation, it's the reputation of the administration establishment which they are representing. Yeah, so पुलिस वाला ही अगर चोरी करेगा तो it shows the whole government in bad light. Yeah, so when we are putting a tilak, we should be doubly sure how do I behave in public, because people are not going to see that some Tom, Dick, Harry is doing something. They are saying, oh, this person is representing spiritual life. This person is representing ISKCON. Is representing Bhagavad Gita. And so therefore they will not judge us, they will judge what we represent. So therefore we should have proper grounding in philosophy and then proper application in practice. Okay, I hope that helps. There's a question on the chat box. It is quite difficult to develop these divine qualities. We have to develop a strong will and determination. We are living with people who have divine qualities. How do we cultivate Daivi Sampada? Yeah, so this is the difficult question that we have. That it takes willpower and determination. Mm. Mm. So there are two things that we can do. Mm. Um, that these demoniac qualities, they're the fertile soil for demoniac qualities is ignorance or agyan. The fertile soil for divine qualities is knowledge, spiritual knowledge. Yeah. So first of all, we should have the right soil. The right soil is the right knowledge. So when we on a regular basis immerse our consciousness and intellect in reading Bhagavad Gita, in reading spiritual literatures, that gives us a fertile ground, hmm, उपजाऊ mindset, जिसमें से we will naturally develop divine qualities. Hmm. So that is as a practice, as a sadhana we should do. Sadhana doesn't mean that from the beginning we will like doing it. Huh? Sadhana means that even if we don't like doing it, we do it because it is the right thing to do. So having the right, intake, knowledge in, then knowledge out. So that's what we do. Mm, Read scriptures on a day-to-day basis, and that's very, very essential. That may appear to be very harmless, or not harmless, very uh, un. There's no effect which is seen on an immediate basis कि अरे आज मैंने पढ़ा कुछ समझ में तो आया नहीं या फिर कुछ याद भी नहीं है मुझे अगले दिन. So what I read yesterday, I don't remember today. So is it really helping? But we are actually exposing our consciousness, our intelligence to spiritual vibrations. We are immersing and bathing the intellect in the knowledge of the Gita, and that is something we should not undermine the potency of. So that is a very important thing. And then doing one's spiritual practices with a sense of urgency, because we need strength. You said we need willpower and determination. So that strength comes from our spiritual practices, uh, from the hearing and chanting, which is like watering that soil. So you have knowledge, but then we also, that soil, it also needs water, and that water is, chanting. Uh, so that we do, and Shravanam Kirtanam that we do. So we hear the holy name, we chant the holy name. So that will also help us. And then after having done that, we on a day-to-day basis, we should also keep in mind as we discussed, that we can, in that list of 26 qualities, look at 3 qualities which we want to cultivate for the next 3 months, and make ourselves conscious of it कि अभी मुझे 3 के ऊपर काम करना है. And one by one, we will be able to work on them, and eventually what appears to be a far distant goal will be very near. Thank you so much, Mataji, Subhashini Mataji, for very regularly attending and gracing with us with your presence.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we have gone over time. So should we take leave?
Yes, bro. Thank you very much. We'll meet next Saturday. It's the 20th. We can continue with the 16th chapter.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Surya Prabhu, and thank you everyone for joining us and encouraging us, and so wonderfully participating. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.